Abdul, thanks for joining me on this episode of the Performance Blueprint. I've been really excited to bring you in as a guest
Thank you.
and talk to you and get to know a bit about your story. So, we've obviously talked for a good 45 minutes off camera, but I'd love you to introduce yourself to all the listeners. Who is Abdul? Where have you come from, and where are you now?
First and foremost, thank you for having me here. Great space. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Abdul Bangura, my journey kind of began probably more so after I was incarcerated. So I spent 5.5 years in total in prison. I came out and I started a healthy meal prep company, which was quite successful. I had that for around 5 and a bit years. And then unfortunately that for a number of reasons was not in operation no more. At the same time, running parallel to when that closed, I've got a daughter, she's 4 now, but when my child's mother was pregnant, she passed away 10 days after she gave birth during
Sorry.
That's fine, thank you. During COVID. So I then was at a stage of, how do I come back from this? Like, what do I do? Like, looking around, just like, oh shit.
So at that point, you've just lost a business and had a new daughter, but sadly just lost the mother.
Yeah. So I was at a stage in my life where I was thinking that I was actually happier in jail. Like, I didn't have these problems. I didn't have these things to think about. I didn't have these issues to responsibilities. My life was just very different, and I wasn't ready to. Well, I didn't know how. That's the wrong word. I didn't know how I was going to adapt to what my life is now. So I think that how I got to what I'm doing now came from a place of figuring out as fast as humanly possible how to adapt to change effectively. And I think that's, that was the main catalyst in me doing what I'm doing now.
Wow, that's powerful. So now you're selling aeroplanes, right, or aeroplane components?
So airplane parts, airplane acquisitions and sales. We do a thing called Camo, which is like fleet management and records reviews. We do audits. So it's a 360 service in the aviation industry, and each facet of our business has come from making a connection, seeing a need, and servicing the need.
Yeah.
And I had no idea about aviation.
I was about to ask, did you have what's the connection to getting into aviation?
Nothing. I just thought of an idea that would make a lot of money. But honestly, so the idea of what I'm doing now came from when I had my restaurants.
Yeah.
So I remember having sitting in my restaurant thinking, do you know what? I'm working like 16, 17-hour days every single day. This is a lot of hard work. Physical, laborious hard work. Tiring hard work, right? Not only am I the chef,
the marketer,
I'm the branding, the salesman. I didn't macromanage. I put too much pressure on myself because I didn't want to let it go. My ego was too high, thinking, oh, I've done all this, I've just come out of jail, I've got this business now, I'm doing all right. But then fatigue started to kick in. More so mental fatigue.
Yeah.
As opposed
burnout,
to, right? Burnout started to happen. And I was thinking, what can I sell that's worth a lot of money that doesn't take up as much time? And I was just like, all right, luxury furniture. I'll sell luxury furniture, right? I'll get a 600 grand sofa and I'll sell it to like whoever can afford it.
A Russian oligarch or something.
Yeah, like I was like someone with money, right? And then I was like, I haven't got like a black book of billionaires in it, so let's scrap that idea.
Yep.
And then I started to list things that were worth money, right? I wrote down a list of like maybe 5 things that were worth a lot of money, and airplanes was one of them. And I was like, how do I get to selling planes? Like, I don't even know where to start with that. But I was like, okay, let me break it down one step further. I was like, let me look at the parts of a plane. So I looked at like wings, I looked at like windows, and I was like, oh, the tires. Where do I get like an airplane tire from that I can just sell to like airlines or whoever wants to buy?
So buying in from like distribution and being the wholesaler kind of.
Not even that. My way of thinking at the time was, let me go find a scrapyard that's got loads of old tires and reshred them and sell them back refurbished.
Right, yeah.
That was my way of thinking. Don't ask me why I thought that. I don't know why. I don't know what got into my head that day, but that was what I thought. Then about 3 to 5 days later, my now co-founder walked into my shop. Now, I've known him from school, like growing up and whatever. We grew up in the same area or whatever. He was studying aircraft engineering at university. So, but he was studying in Manchester.
Right.
So he used to come down to like see his family every, I don't know if it's half term or whatever it is, like every couple months or whatever. But he came down and he used to always support Fresco when he comes to the shop. And I was like, oh yeah, you're into airplanes, isn't it? He was like, yeah, I'm studying aircraft engineering. I said, oh, I've got this idea to sell like tires. Do you think you could help me? And he was like, yeah, but right now I'm in my first year of my apprenticeship. Like, I don't really know I don't know enough to be able to give you good advice. Ask me when I've finished my degree. I was like, all right, cool. It's 2017. We had the conversation. I didn't do nothing with it. I just had the conversation and the idea. Skip forward now to 2020. The business is at a standstill. I'm in a position where I'm now a single father. I've lost everything that I thought I had, right? And I'm in a mad state of depression. My whole world caved in. My whole world changed. Like within 2 weeks, literally changed. And I remember sitting there thinking, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? And then I had this dream. It sounds so cliche, but I had this dream that me and him, my business partner, were in this aircraft hangar, right? And I remember it was like I was napping because I was so tired. I mean, obviously, when you got a baby, every 3 hours or whatever, and I'm not sleep. I remember it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something.
So at this point, you're solely raising your
solely
baby.
Raising my child, yeah,
And grieving.
And grieving at the same time, and trying to figure out how I'm going to make some money.
And broke.
Yeah, and broke. Yeah. So I had this dream, and I rang him, and I hadn't spoken to him since then, right?
For 3 years previous.
Yeah, I hadn't spoken to him. I didn't even know if the number was still the same number. So I rang him and said, oh, hi, bro, it's me. He was like, oh, what's going on? Oh, how's things? Oh, sorry to hear about what happened. I said, listen, I've got this idea, yeah? Remember that thing that we spoke about a few years ago? I said, can it still work? He was like, mate, you're a mind reader, man. He's like, I literally had the same conversation with like the area manager today, talking about how spare parts in aviation are so hard to get hold of. Like the process of getting them is Jurassic.
Yeah.
Like it's old. Like there isn't like a bam, bam, here it is. So with that, he was like, let's do it. And that was it, mate. We did it.
So you kind of innovated the supply and demand kind of part.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just about using tech to innovate the supply chain of something that is a very easy service to deliver, but it's the current system of how it's being done just needed to be updated.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Oh, wicked. So you started this during COVID, or just off the back of COVID?
Yeah,
right?
just off the back of it, yeah.
So a lot of industries suffered from supply and demand issues, obviously, where plants shutting down all over the world and what have you. So did that come with its own set of challenges? Were you on the back foot even creating this entity at the same time? Like, could you?
We was on the front foot because the whole aviation industry was at a standstill.
Yeah, no one was flying. You couldn't fly.
Exactly. But we knew that at some point it was going to reopen. And when it reopens, all the aircrafts are going to need maintenance because they've been standing still for so long. So they're going to need parts. Yeah. So when they go back into service, if we're there and ready to service the MROs and the airlines that need the parts, we're already 10 steps ahead.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That's not super risky, though. Did you not think at any point, obviously it's paid off, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here today, but the thought of creating an airline supply chain model when nobody's using planes, and I think quite a few airlines went bust, didn't they, during COVID?
Yeah, loads, yeah.
Listen,
I had nothing to lose. I'd already lost everything.
Yeah.
Right? If I hadn't, I've been in my position, I would never have thought of that. I probably never would have done it.
Yeah.
But when you're backed into a corner and you have nothing else to grip onto, a way comes. right? And you'll do things that are, you'll take risks that you maybe never would have taken out of desperation, I guess. But at the same time, strategy, because now I was in a position where I learned so much from my previous business of what I didn't do before. Now I can take that into the new business. Hindsight. And I had the magnitude of what if? What if we actually pull this off? And you see, that what if for me is enough motivation. Also, that I've got my child. I've got bills coming out. I need to. I'm having to go and sign on. Like I'm in a real bad way right now. Like I'm getting food stamps and stuff. Like it was long. So
I'm guessing because of the incarceration, like me, probably at that point, I would have I'm stacking shelves in Aldi's or something, right, to make. But I'm guessing that came with its own set of challenges to even just get.
It was that. But remember, when I came out of prison, I went straight into business.
I want to pick on that one.
So I know what I'm capable of. So I'm not going backwards 10 steps. Do you understand? There's nothing wrong with that. And sometimes you have to start again from scratch. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
The entrepreneurial first.
Yeah, but for me, I was like, look what I've actually just achieved. I've turned over X amount of, over 7 figures in 4 years from £52. I am not going to get a job. I've never had a job. I can't do it. Right? I can. I just don't want to. I just don't want to. So where I knew what I was capable of, I knew what I was capable of doing if I had the right team, and I knew how to get out of this situation I'm currently in. So that was it.
Mate, that's amazing. Let's go back a bit then. So you've come out of prison, and so I'm aware of your previous brand. As I said, I used it for quite a while. So Freshco was like a meal prep service. And from what I remember, one of the early ones. So how did you come up with the concept? How did you start that business? I know I'd like you to kind of expand on how far it went, and it went really, really close to huge success. Right?
So how I actually came up with the idea
prison
was that as well, prison food. But before I went to prison, I was a personal trainer.
Right.
So I already saw
nutrition, the benefit of,
but I saw the need.
Yeah.
Because my clients didn't have a service where I just give them diet plans.
Yeah.
Okay. How about I actually give the food to you? Because what's going to happen is I'm going to train you. I'm going to tell you what to eat. You're not going to get the results and then come and blame me when you keep putting your hand in the cookie jar, right? But it's my fault.
Yeah.
Cool. So
physically give you.
If I give you the food, and if you train how I told you to train, you eat what I told you to eat. There is no excuses. You definitely get the results.
Yeah.
The only person that can be held accountable then is you.
Yeah.
Because I've delivered everything there is for you to have it. I've led the horse to water. Drink the water, right?
As the case may be.
Drink the water. But how I actually figured out, okay, cool. Fresco Box did so well because I had systems in place. I'm a systems person. I understand back-end systems. That gets my mind going. I'm a very logical thinker, right?
Process orientated.
Very process orientated. In prison, I thought, how do they feed everyone every single day? Without fail, 3 times a day. 50 years ago, there was a prison. 50 years from now, there's going to be a prison. That's a 100-year business. Plan and model that works. Tried, proven, tested every single day.
Yep.
I started to go and work in the kitchens, right?
Okay.
Then I started to watch, they got a veg prep area. They got a meat prep area. This is when the stock comes in. This is where the stock comes from. When it comes in, this is the paperwork that's got to be filled out.
This is the life expectancy of them.
Yeah. So I started to understand the operation, right? Then I started writing everything down. All I did was take that same model and use it out here.
Right. Is it fair to say, a bit of a bold statement, but is it fair to say your prison experience has actually made you a better businessman?
100%.
Not that I'm recommending anybody goes to prison.
What I mean is, remember, both my parents were entrepreneurs and businessmen and businesswomen, yeah? So I've learned certain skills from them and certain attributes, but it's my parents. I'm not going to listen that much. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit too much of an emotional attachment, right? So they've already showed me certain things in life that I need to do and how I need to act in business. I kind of know the fundamentals, but I don't know the system. When I went to prison, I was of an age where I was like, hold on a second. I asked the right questions. which then gave me the right results because I can physically see it because I'm doing it. Then all I did was take that same system and apply it outside, because if it works here, you haven't got to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
You just got to change it to adapt it.
Make it more tasteful.
So with Fresco Box, like I said to you, the reason why Fresco Box did so well is because my system was solid. Even now, if I was to explain to you how I can cook, I don't know, 2,000 meals a week effortlessly in one day, you're going to go, how the hell do you do that? But it's because I figured out the system.
Yeah.
Whereas some people don't have that system and don't have that knowledge, and they'll have the branding, they'll have the customer service, they'll have everything else, but the system is
They can't scale it then.
Can't scale it.
Yeah.
So that's why I was able to scale, because I had the right system in place, which I took proudly from being incarcerated. So thank you.
Yeah. So you said, like, you opened up early on, and one of the takeaways from Freshco was you did too much.
Yep.
Like, you were the owner and the operator, right?
Yep.
Which is obviously something you've improved on.
Yeah.
But you still managed to scale Freshco to quite an extent.
Yeah.
So did you bring in team members and you trained those and you gave them accountability to certain parts? Like, how did you scale that?
So I scaled it at first. The first people that came into my business was my family.
Yeah.
So my mum was my chef, my brother was the head of operations, my sister came in, even my nephew and my nieces came in, something like that.
Did you pay them?
Yeah, of course I did. Yeah, I paid them. Not as much as they would have liked at the time, but that's just family, innit? But I understood I couldn't do this on my own. It's too much of a big operation. You need like 100 hands, like, to do certain things. Then, as I started to get more busy, I needed more people. So I just used to hire people that I knew, which is another mistake, right?
Hiring friends.
Hiring friends or people that you know.
Yeah.
Because if I ask you to go and pick up those dishes over there, you're going to feel a certain way.
Yeah.
Depending on how I ask you the question.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't know you, I'm just going to ask you to do it.
Yeah.
You're not even going to question it. You're just going to go, all right, cool. But if I know you, there's that
pre-existing relationship.
Yeah, it's harder. Right?
Yeah,
it's harder to get the message across, right? Which is another lesson that I learned. Not a bad thing. It's just you got to know how to deal with people as humans, right? So I started to scale by understanding that not everyone can do every job as good as I can do it, but everyone learns in different ways, and their way of doing it might actually be better than the way that I'm currently doing it.
Yeah.
So I had to be more open-minded as to understanding how other people work, and obviously it's my business. No one's ever going to do it to my standard, but
good enough is
macro manage. Yep. But I wasn't macro-managing, I was micromanaging, right? And I wasn't allowing people to make their own mistakes because I thought we couldn't afford that. Mm-hmm. Because look, you're dealing with people's food. You get one chance. That's it. If they don't like it,
they leave. They
leave. And they're not coming back.
Yeah.
And they're going to tell 20 people, not one.
Yeah.
They're going to tell everyone, don't go there. Then it's a knock-on effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I was more so scared of that. And I learned to now macro manage as opposed to what I was doing then, which was micromanaging.
Okay. Yeah. So you took Freshco quite far.
Yeah.
Very far, actually.
Yeah.
And as I said, I want to query you on motivation and discipline, because if I was in your shoes and some of the things I think you've gone through, my motivation would have gone a long time ago, right? You're standing here, or sitting here now with me, smiling, happy, well presented. And I asked you the question earlier, I just want to kind of expand on it. How do you stay motivated, or is it discipline? Is it your discipline? What is keeping you driving through all these?
I think it comes down to purpose.
Yep.
What is your purpose? For me, my purpose has changed over time because my situation has changed. Yep. So if you ask me when I first come out of prison, what was my purpose? My purpose would have been to make money and build this amazing business, right? And I was 100% laser beam focused on that. I wasn't going out. I wasn't associating with people. You saw me. I was grafting every single day. You drive up a shop, I'm definitely in there. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I sleep in there. That's how deep it was. So I think that if your purpose is strong enough, you'll find a way. My purpose changed when my child's mother passed away. Now my purpose is my child. I have to that's my main goal in life, is
Your
to
main
keep her alive
priority.
for a long enough, as long a time as possible that she can fly the nest.
Yeah.
That's my purpose now,
Mhm.
right? Then my purpose changed after that, because I'm like, I can use my story and my experiences to help other people that may be able to resonate with different parts of my story.
Mhm.
So your purpose, or for me personally, your purpose is what propels your. I'm trying to think of another P. Your purpose is what propels your
Power.
your power. There you go.
Good.
That's a good one. Yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
yeah.
And then, so back to the Fresco
Yeah.
situation. You said you were micromanaging, or you were doing it all yourself.
Yeah.
That's not humanly possible when you're a parent, let alone a single parent,
Sure.
right? So, I guess, has that been some of the driver to your mindset shift to more having the right people in the right seats doing the job, and you've kind of turned more into like the visionary side of things,
I think it's
right?
about leadership.
Yeah.
It's more so about leadership. And I think when now I study leaders.
Yep.
When you look at people like Andrew Carnegie, Steve Jobs, these are
Jack
phenomenal,
Welch, yeah.
phenomenal leaders, which come with sacrifice.
Yeah.
You have to be 100% focused on the goal, and you have to have a goal first. So I think that, going back to your question, it was more of a case of understanding what my position is and what I have to do, and understanding the sacrifices that I'm going to have to make, that I have made, and I'm going to have to continue to make in order to leave the legacy that I want to leave. And yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Wow. So your daughter now, she's 4?
Yeah.
Coming on 4,
yeah.
right? Lives with you full time,
Yeah.
right? How are you balancing now? Like, how much time does she get with you? Is it like,
Oh mate, she
is your
my,
purpose?
listen, my clock works around her clock.
Yeah.
I've got between 8 a.m. and 3:30, 4 o'clock to sort my life out. Then after that, go and get her from school and
spend time
and do whatever. And then when she goes to bed, maybe like 6:30, 7 o'clock, I'm back on the laptop, and I've got another like 4 hours to do what I've got to do. So I have to split my time between being able to be an active dad and not get all like, oh, I'm on my phone when I'm with her. You know what I mean? I actually, time management, I actually block out time. Like, listen, you between 5 and 7, you can't really contact me, if I'm honest with you. Because
boundaries.
I have boundaries, and I set them in stone, because I know that time that I have with her
Precious time.
It's
not
precious.
Back, is it?
And it's like, I don't, it's not coming back for one, but at the same time, it's like, I want her to get into that routine of knowing, okay, this is my time with my dad. His mind isn't focused on other things. Obviously, if I've got meetings and Zoom, if they're in different countries and different time zones, of course I'll have them. But you have to get to the fact that my child's with me. I'll make it very clear, and she might be watching Paw Patrol. So it is what it is.
Like, the one benefit from, if there's any benefit that's come from COVID, I think, is the acceptability of this work-life balance thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I remember when it all started, everybody would be on their Zooms, they'd have a corporate background.
And
nobody was allowed to make noises.
Yeah.
Towards the end, you had like kids walking in, picking their nose in the background. It just
like,
become natural, right?
But
and
I think
blended.
it's because it's natural, like you said, right? And people are more understanding.
Real,
like, we get it. Like, we understand if little Johnny is just smashing a spoon against the fridge. We get it. We've all done it. And I feel like corporates, especially the bosses, are becoming more understanding of that it's actually just real life. And just because this person is in this position doesn't affect their productivity to do the job that they're supposed to be doing. And I think as long as you just do your job, no one really cares what you're doing.
Right measures in place, right metrics, right? This comes to the macro management, as you named it. It's like, you don't need to know every single day, like every single minute that John's online moving his mouse and doing these things, right? You want the output. You want to see the output.
Are you doing what your job description is meant to be doing? To the best of your ability? Okay, cool. Let little Johnny smash his spoon in the fridge every day. Furthermore, it might even help. So keep doing it as part of the formula. Wicked. So I think that COVID definitely changed people's perceptions.
Amazing. Yeah. So we've gone from Fresco, we've built the new aviation company, but
Yeah.
there's also a little bit of a TV star back in you at the moment as well.
Yeah.
So let's just kind of talk through how all of this background is kind of, how you're using that, and specifically the Channel 4 show you've done, and
Yeah, so that was a show called Banged Up. That the show concept was 6 celebrities going into a real prison and giving them an experience of what real prison is actually like, based on their views. So some of them were very anti-drugs, maybe. One guy thought smoking cannabis was worse than smoking crack. Personal preference and opinion, I guess.
Yep.
Which we're allowed to have. Other people, just different people from different backgrounds, opinion on who prisoners are, the people in there, and the system.
So you're expelling myths,
expelling myths, but at the same time, maybe even confirming them.
Yeah.
Right. So the experience was for 2 weeks. We was actually in the prison for 2 weeks.
You lived in this prison.
Lived in the prison for 2 weeks. Door closed, everything. No phones or whatever it was, and it was a very weird experience because it's a trauma that I've healed from. Now you've got to go and step back into it.
But you've chosen to step back into it.
I've chosen, I've chosen to step back into it because I understand the greater impact that could potentially have on other people. Some people might look at that and go, do you know what? I'm living a certain life right now. I actually don't want to be in there.
I'm packing it in.
So if I can be a part of something that stops someone doing something like that, 100%, I'll go back in there and do that. It's worth it because you're helping someone's life.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a great show. It's on Channel 4, came out in November 2023. It's still like online.
Get it on the
stream.
4OD.
4OD app. So if you see me on there, like, hey. But yeah, I feel like before I was very nervous about telling my story about my incarceration.
Yep.
Especially on platforms like LinkedIn. I was
yeah.
Listen, I don't want to tell no one I've been to prison.
Yep.
I was embarrassed. I'm in the aviation industry. Everyone's like, hi sir, kind regards. You know how the lingo, right? And then I thought to myself, do you know what? I don't even care. Like, this is me. I'm being my true authentic self. If that's gonna affect you doing potential business with me, then cool. Good luck to you. There'll be someone else that will.
Yeah.
Because I'm being my true authentic self. And furthermore, it's inspiring a lot of people that have been through something similar to myself, and they're seeing someone that is in an industry that isn't led by predominantly young black men. Do you understand? So it's something for other people to aspire to go, oh, well, if he can do it, then I can do it. And for me, I'm happy to be the leader in that space. No problem, because I understand that it's so important for people to be able to see someone and see something physically that is doing something tangible that they can potentially reach and go above.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
So your story to me shows that you can start from anywhere. I think you can start from a real bad place and still make it to somewhere really good, right? Like, your current situation isn't your final situation.
100%. And I think it's more of a case of, just because bad things, listen, I've done bad things, right? And I've been punished for it, and I've taken accountability for it. But sometimes people are in good positions, but they can get to better positions. But because they're not around the right people, they haven't been exposed to seeing more by not stepping out of their own comfort zones, they'll always be boxed in on what they think is reality, when really and truly there's levels.
Yeah.
There's levels to life.
There's something like something about you are the sum of the 5 closest
people you're around
to you, or something, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I really believe in that. Like, the time when I'm telling you about when I lost Fresco and I was super depressed, my life was going downhill, I used to wear a suit and walk into Mayfair. And I had about
that vibe,
to be around it.
Yeah.
I had about £6 in my bank account. I'm not joking. I'd walk into the Rolls Royce garage and just sit in a Wraith, because I'm like, do you know what? Next time I come in here, I'm buying one for my mum. I'm buying one for my dad. Like, I'm coming in there and walking out with these cars, right? Not because I want the cars, but just because I can. Yeah. Do you understand? It's more for me. It's more so the freedom of being able to do what I want with what I want when I want to do it, and that's one of my main goals is just having freedom of not only financial freedom, but freedom
Life
of self.
choices,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah,
you can
yeah.
just do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. So,
Yeah, I love that.
like I said, when I was at that point, I put myself in uncomfortable positions because I knew at some point I will attract.
You level up to it, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when it does happen, it's not a
I
shock.
know what you mean. Yeah.
So, like yesterday, I was saying to you earlier, I was in Parliament.
Yep.
If you asked me 4 years ago, mate, I would have been so gassed. Like, oh my God, I'm going, Mum, Dad, like, I'm going to Parliament. Like, I'm telling everyone. See, now, it's normal.
Yeah.
It's actually become normalized. It sounds weird me even saying that to you. I've normalized going to Parliament.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh yeah, it's another day. We done on Wednesday. Oh yeah, I've got to do this.
You've had a few of these, right? You met Richard Branson.
Richard Branson, like that was James Caan, Richard Reed. I can name so many names and so many rooms and so many people I've been around, right? And I'm just like, this really isn't normal.
Yeah.
But
it's become more normal now.
But it's become more normal
but...
because I want to put myself in a position where that's just like I'm going somewhere on Wednesday at 2:00 just to do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like when you look at like the elites like Richard Branson and these kind of people, do you think they get gassed about seeing so and so? They're just like, we're just going there for a meeting.
Yeah.
It's nothing. Whereas when you're at a different level of thinking, you get super excited about these things, which is always good, but in moderation. Because if I'm always excited about something, when I meet this person, they're going to be like, you're a bit...
Who's this guy?
Yeah, you're a bit too excited. Like, I'm a human like how you're a human. So I like to deal with people on a human level.
Yeah.
And obviously, of course, I'm internally gassed, but I'm not going to let you know that. I'm just going to deal with you as Kevin, right? So that's it.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. So, as I said earlier, your current situation isn't your final situation, right?
Sure.
And you're in a really good place now, a great place. I love hearing your story.
Thank you.
I guess if it's not your current situation, where are you going? Like, what more can you do? What more do you want to achieve now?
I'll give you an analogy. So the best way I can describe it, right? See, right now, we hear about Socrates. We hear about Julius Caesar. We hear about the Battle of Hastings. Mm-hmm. We hear about, I don't know, Oliver Cromwell. All of these, William Shakespeare, right? Great minds. How long ago did they die? Hundreds, some of them thousands of years ago. I'm about leaving a legacy. You see, when I'm not on this earth, that's what's going to matter the most. Who is Abdul Bangura? How many lives has he changed? And what did he leave on this earth that we are now using?
Better for.
Yes.
Mate, that's powerful.
So for me, it's not about even now. It's about my kids.
Yeah.
They'll be like, our great granddad started this.
Yeah.
And now we're still benefiting from it because he paved the way for that or this or whatever. So for me, it's about legacy after I'm gone. That's what it's about. And about servicing as many people and helping as many people as I physically can, and just giving back, just giving charity back, man. That's it's about servicing people. Man,
Abdul,
for sure.
That's powerful, mate. So powerful. I actually don't know where to go after this. I think that is the perfect place to leave this now. Mate, that's absolutely incredible.
Thank you, man.
As I said, we've only touched a bit on your journey, but if people want to connect with you, understand more, get to know you more, how's the best way to connect with you?
On my website, abdulbangura.co.uk. Instagram is at the Self Mastery Guide. Just reach out. I'm actually one of them people online. I do actually reply to people. I'm not like, oh,
leave you on blue tick.
Yeah. Like I genuinely will. If I can, I will 100%. If I can't, I'll tell you I can't. Yeah. Very straight up. So appreciate you, mate.
As I said, thanks so much for coming in.
I appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me.